How's it? Today is July 19th, Monday, and I have a snatch workout today. Today was very interesting because I talked with Steve and he sort of wanted me to go a little bit lighter today. This is what he came up with, just power snatch plus two hang snatches between 75 and 85. And his overarching idea was to kind of take this week a little bit easier, go to about 80% of what I'm capable of, and give my body a little bit of rest. I told him that my back has been hurting a lot, like my QL. It's been hurting largely due to my work schedule. At least in my opinion, that is what's the main factor. Because it doesn't hurt typically when I'm lifting. It hurts after and when I'm walking around. So that is not a good sign overall. But in light of that, today's work was supposed to be a little bit lighter. But I ended up actually hitting two PRs, which is a strange thought to think about if I'm supposed to be going lighter than normal. These two PRs are the PR on the power snatch plus hang snatch double. I think in general I don't typically do this exercise as much, and even when I do them, my power snatch is very limited. So going to 190 is like 86 or 87 kilos, and that in itself is a lot more than I typically am capable of. I think I feel comfortable power snatching 175, but anything above that is problematic. So it was a fun exercise today. But I ended up doing 190, one power plus two hangs. And funny thing about this whole workout was I actually warmed up to do 1+1s, and I at this time in the workout I actually read my text from Steve, and it was like, oh, it's actually 1+2s. So I kept the weight at 170, which is like a little bit above the 75 kilo mark. And basically from there I increased every set by 5 pounds just because it felt easy and I felt capable of doing it. And so when I got to 185, I figured, well, if I go up to 190 for the next set, that would be a PR. And that's a fun thought to have, to PR on a lighter day. But yeah, here's my third set, 180. 180 again is above that threshold where I'm comfortable power snatching. One thing to note here is that the bar on my left side did not spin the way that it should have, and you can see that I did take a step to my right because of that. And I mean, ideally I would be able to put the bar in the right spot independent of spin, but that one was difficult due to spin. Here's the PR, here's my last set. Again, that forward walk was largely due to the bar. That power was very questionable, very close, so I'm still going to count it. It's just that I'm not, I wouldn't say that was below parallel, you know. I've always held the belief that if it's questionable, it's not a power, but given what I'm doing today, then I'm going to count that as power, you know what I mean? After that, I moved into 3 sets of 1+4, snatch pull plus floating snatch pulls. Steve usually just writes these as 3 sets of 5 floating snatch pull, but in order to actually pick it up, he would rather me just do the first snatch pull from the ground rather than pick it up and then reset at hip. So that's what I did. These are really light. I am focusing primarily on just pushing with, oh, I touched the ground there. I'm focusing on pushing primarily with just my legs and not trying to get any hip thrusting, any hip throwing into the motion. And I am pretty happy with how high I can actually get the bar. It's like right above like my sternum on some of them. Maybe a little bit lower than my sternum. But again, it's a weight that when you look at things, it's not super heavy. but it's also not super light, like relative, right? Relative to where I want to be, it's not very heavy, but relative to where I've been, it's pretty heavy. So I have to take the wins where I can, and that's one of the places. After that, I moved into some snatch balances. I actually had the option of going for a snatch push press triple plus an overhead squat, or a snatch balance triple. I elected to do the snatch balance triples just because I think they're a little bit more fun. And also I haven't done them in a while, so that's a thought. I actually PR'd this as well. I did 225 for a triple. I actually did it for a double, and then I failed the third rep, and then I came back and reattempted it, and I was able to make it. In the past, I know I've been able to do 225 for at least one, maybe two, but I do not think I've been able to do it for three. I also don't think I've given myself the opportunity to go for a three. So, yeah, it's another PR that it comes on not as good practice, or not as if I don't do the movement a lot, when I come back to do it again, chances are I'm going to be stronger overall. So maybe the variation of the lift will end in a PR, and so I'm pretty happy with how that was today. So here's my fail. The first one was pretty okay. The second one was not. It was really wobbly, and then this third one was just a little bit too forward for me to save. But I do come back and I do make the lift. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed there. I was debating on whether or not I should just call it quits, but I felt like I have enough power and enough energy to actually just go for it, so I did go for it. I'm pretty happy that I did go for it. And then after that, I did one set of weighted pull-up just because everything felt really fried. So I didn't do any extra sets. I did one set of 10 at 35 pounds. And that was pretty hard. So I was like, yeah, that's it. And then just some hanging leg raise for my core work. But all in all, like, today was a pretty damn good session. I PR'd on two lifts, which I don't typically PR very often. I might PR once a month, once every other month, once a year. Those are hard to come by, so I'm pretty happy with that. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Shoots.